Hello, everybody. Oliver here, the Spiritual Activator, and today I'm going to be answering questions that I've received from all of you here. Okay, so I'm going to be reading them and answering them here. But first, if you guys can see me and hear me, just comment yes and yes below, just to make sure that all of our all the audio and video is working really well. Okay, just comment yes and yes. Let me know if you guys can see this. All right, perfect. Looks like people are joining in. You guys can see me and hear me. And let's get some questions answered. All right. So again, all over here, spiritual activator, and we're gonna go, over all things energy, things that affect how to clear. That's typically the things that we go over how to activate your gifts. And today we have a very interesting questions that have come up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle them. Okay. All right. So one question we have here is, my ears ring all day, every day, for my whole life. Please explain if this is something I'm supposed to activate or work on. So I get this a lot, okay? So here's the thing. You got to remember that we come in here, we are born and we are divinely guided. We have gifts, we have our intuition, and our intuition typically is what guides us through life, right? And when our intuition is on and we're connected and we're pulling from higher source, what ends up happening is that, it's kind of like being blindfolded and walking across a landmine. We just know where to put our feet and how to be safe. Intuitively, we know that, right? And the thing is, the big problem is through life we turn off our intuition for whatever way, shape, or form. It's turned off, or it's kind of filtered to where now we don't know what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. We don't know what's intuition or programming or fear, and we lose our guidance, right? So ringing the ears can mean so many different things. I mean, over the last decade and so that I've been doing this, so many different reasons why that happens. One could be, for example, let's say you're talking to somebody, right? And you're supposed to be paying attention to what they're saying, your ears might ring. Or it could also happen if you're talking to somebody and what they're saying is something that's negative that you shouldn't be paying attention, your ears might ring as well. It could be you're sensitive to energy and you are a high level of empath to where when people think about you with any kind of strong emotion, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't matter. If they think about you with any kind of strong emotion, then you start, you feel it, and your ears start ringing. And that's happened to me plenty of times, to where I'm just doing my thing, my ears start ringing, right, and then I start, feeling a certain energy. It's just like it's whether it's I go from really peaceful and calm and collected to all of a sudden anxious and worried. And next thing you know, I get a call, email, or text within the next 30 minutes or an hour from somebody who I know who has that kind of energetic, tone. That's how they operate. That's how they are. And the text, the email, the communication is literally it has that tone of anxiety or fear or frustration that I felt before it was even sent. Because before things plan out in the physical world, the energetic world happens. It's quick. It's quicker than the energy travels faster than sound, faster than light. So when someone thinks and you're open, you're just receptive. Boom! It hits you. It affects you in all ways, shapes, and forms. Okay. So that's another reason why your ears could be ringing. Another reason why your ears could be ringing sometimes is when you're, let's say you are driving somewhere, right, and you see something. Maybe it's an exit or a store. And you're thinking, should I go there? Should I not go there? Then your ears start ringing. Or maybe you're reading something, or you're scrolling through and you stop on something, your ears start ringing. That might mean pay attention to what you're seeing, right? So a lot of the times, noise in the ear is just feedback. These are messages. These are feedback to help guide you, whether to remember something, pay attention to things, or maybe you're just getting worked on as well, right? So that's one of the things that I've seen when it comes. I mean, there's a lot more, but those are the typical ones I've seen when it comes to the ringing of the ears. Okay, so let's see what else here. Another question is, how do you know if you projected an idea or thought, or if you're just picking up on someone else's? This is difficult for me to decipher. I don't know if I'm manifesting or if I'm being given a messages that things are about to happen, or I'm picking up on another's thoughts. But it's all the time, and sometimes so close together that there's no way for me to figure out what or which came first. Now, here is the thing. Okay, it's you have to know your state of clarity, and you got to know and become familiar with that before you can dive deep into this question. Because the thing is, yeah, you could be given, your crown chakra could be open, and you could be channeling divine information and messages, and you're tapping into, like, the astral, like, astral world, or you're being able to tap into higher realms and get information, and that flows through your crown chakra. Or it could be that your third eye is pretty much active, to where you're picking up on thoughts and more empathic than normal, and you're feeling the pain of people that are in front of you or remotely, or the pain of the world, right? But the thing is, you won't know any of that stuff if you're so immersed in that plus everything else that's hitting you in the human realm, right? So what I recommend is, whatever method of clearing and relaxation and calming you do that for, a few minutes or an hour, or however long you can. Whether that's journaling, or solitude is super important for a lot of people, being in your own space. Or maybe it's about moving your body, yoga, or working out, or running, or dancing. Or maybe it's being in the elements, whether it's being in nature, or by the fire, or getting the breeze and the wind, or you're in your ocean, and the water just clears you and cleanses you. So whatever your method for clearing is, okay, do that till you're clear. And then once you know what it's like to have your own potent energy, okay, not being shared with anybody else, but just yours. And then once you step out of that, like, you'll once it starts happening again, you'll start having more clarity. And what's cool is that with our hands, we can feel energy, and we are able to, and sometimes when you can't, like, you still need to work on your third eye to be able to feel energy. But for the most part, we are able to just see, okay, if that's happening, and you're getting all these thoughts, you're checking, is it from the crown, or you're getting more tension from the third eye. And that will give you a clue, because if you're getting more tension from the third eye, then it's thoughts and emotions that you're picking up from other people, because your third eye is like it's like a radio channel station. It just picks up everything on that frequency. Or if it's your crown, then that it's divine information channeling through, maybe through the Akashic records or higher realms, whatever you're tapped into, right? But the key is to be able to decipher, how do you know when you are in your peak, right? How do you know when you're in your peak clear state versus um, just you're bombarded and you're reacting and you don't know, and you're just pretty much lost, swimming in the confusion and the frustration of everything hitting you all at once. Okay, but yeah, if you're overwhelmed, you've got to get into a habit of getting clarity, stepping out, do whatever works for you. Like, and the thing is, yeah, we have crystal, you have sage, you have energy healing, and all that stuff that I teach, and you guys learn. But we, as spiritual beings, were born with innate knowing, and just this knowledge, sacred knowledge, on how to clear and how to stay in tune. And we do it as kids. If you look at your childhood and you look at how you grew up, there are things that you love, whether it's playing by the sand, like, or spending time with animals, or dancing, or helping, or loving people. Like, you've got to pay attention to the things that worked when you were a kid, because these are the same things that actually work now, that naturally clears you, gets you into a higher state, gets you connected, and really in that state of connectedness, that's when you're able to make sense of all these different things that are happening. Because yeah, you might be having an open crown and downloading stuff, you might have open third eye, and you're absorbing everything, but unless you're in a high enough state and consciousness, you're not going to be able to know the difference and know what to do with it and know what it's for, because you are just at the receiving end of it. So the goal is to be able to get in a higher state. So now you can see the pieces of the puzzle, how they fit, and how to move forward. Okay. All right, let's see what other questions I have here. Okay. I really connected with this. I'm curious about specific tips to avoid what you call an energy hangover that can occur when this happens. And this is on, I think you're referring to a training that I did on channeling. And channeling is one of the gifts for you guys. Just a quick refresher. Channeling is there's several gifts that we have, right? And some of us have mixtures of a lot of them. But channeling is someone who can tap into higher realms, whether that's like an independence, this whether you believe in God, a universe, higher power, Akashic records, it doesn't matter what you believe in, right? It's like they all do. The platform that I have, everything that I teach works with anyone regardless of their beliefs, their backgrounds, because energy is energy. So when your crown chakra is open and and you're clear, yeah, you can pull in information, and this is how some of the brightest minds in history were able to out of nowhere, tap into what they call the collective mind. People have described this in different ways. They tap into something bigger than themselves, and they pull information down. Next thing you know, they create things in that we see in this physical world that wasn't created before, and they move humanity forward leaps and bounds in ways that really has people in shock and awe, right? So it can come through information, it can come through energy, right? Sometimes it's just energy. And when that happens, energy hangover typically happens. I've seen it happen a few times. One, it happens when there's so much leftover energy. Let's say you're channeling all this information that you're letting it flow through you, right? And then afterwards, you're just so much energy and it's not released. Like, in the release could be you can dance, you can move around, you can be in a salt bath, right? You can actively do energy healings and clearings to release the energy that's stuck in your body. And once that's released, all the excess energy is released, then you shouldn't have an energy hangover. Energy hangover is when you wake up the next day and you just feel wiped. You feel like you got run over by a bus or something, and you're just like you can't get out of bed. Everything is heavy. You're like swimming in a soup of frustration, lower vibes, and it just gets you. It affects you, and that's what an energy hangover is. Or you might have a headache, or you might have a migraine, and it's energy related. So, and that means either one or two things. In my experience, is one is so much leftover energy that's absorbed and was running through you that wasn't cleared or wasn't released. And the other thing too that I've noticed is sometimes it's because something's trying to come through with higher energy, information, wisdom, knowledge, but you tune it out. You don't want to. For some reason, you want to avoid it, and you kind of. And the thing is that needs to come through. The message always needs to come through as a channel. That's how you are wired. But sometimes people, they're like, I don't want to, or they refuse, and energy gets stuck, and that's what it creates. That some sort of an energy hangover effect that I've seen. Okay. Um, let's see. Another question here is when, and this talks about, and this, like, I did a video in that you'll see here if you guys check out in the program. It's called, quick way to clear your environment. Okay, so if you guys haven't, just dig around, you're gonna see it. And the question that's asked is, when you go through a house, do you go through this process in each room, and would you use the combination with sage or Palo Santo? So I love sage, I love Palo Santo, and sometimes. So here's the way I do it when I'm doing a clearing. And again, to understand this video, you can just watch the training that I have. Um, it is You can do it physically, where you're walking, and sage, Palo Santo. It really depends on what your preference is. Some days I love sage, some days I love Palo Santo, some days I just do it by pure energy and intention, and I do it in every single room. I walk into the room and I'm clearing it, and I'm setting the intention as I'm clearing it. And again, I go over this in one of my videos. You just guys check it out. And so I do that. And if I am, let's say, in bed already and it's nighttime and I want to clear the house and I don't want to get up, then I um, just do it with my intention and with higher guidance and with energy. But I'm still like setting an intention of it being done in each and every individual room to clear all the negative energy that does not belong there, that is not of love and light and of the highest good. So step one is for it to be cleared, and then I ask for like it to be replaced with. Because the thing when you remove negative energy, it has to be replaced. Because it's a vacuum. So if you don't replace it with positive energy, it's gonna pull in whatever it is it can pull in, right? So I fill it up with love, with light, like with just like life force, energy, and positivity, and things that will rejuvenate and really take care and enrich my soul and my spirit and my body as I sleep, right? And then afterwards, I just set protection, like in all the doors, like and just making sure that the house, the rooms, the individuals are protected from any kind of negative fear-based lower level energies or entities that may be popping up sometimes throughout the night. So again, I mean, I have a detailed video that I have. It goes through that, how to clear your environment. But that's my thought process. I mean, you can do it by intention, by the energy work, and also by freaking sage and Palo Santo and doing that kind of stuff. So all of those work. A lot of it is figuring out what works for you and your specific um, mood, style, and preference at that time. Okay. So that one, all right. Another one here is, let's see here. So I did the training on signs and gifts in the past. So the question regarding that is, hi, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your talk and thank you for sharing. You mentioned numbers. When something difficult is about to happen, I constantly see the numbers 707 in emails, license plates, clocks, bank account balance, you name it. I'm flooded with this number. So brace myself, but I want to know your thoughts. So a lot of the times, again, it is different for everybody, but numbers is like another way for higher power, God, universe, divinity, whatever you believe in, communicates, with you, right? And a lot of times it can be ringing in the ears. It can be a song, it can be a certain smell, and sometimes it can be numbers. So, or certain people showing up in your life. So again, it depends on how you're wired and what really gets your attention. So it seems like for you, numbers work 707. I know for me, it's 111, 11, 11, 333, 444, things that are consecutive, and it will be like someone would text me and I'm like, I'm not sure if I should reply to this right now, and and I see it was sent at 222, and now in my mind it's higher power saying, you know what, go ahead, prioritize this. This is important, and it's again, a loving nudge and reminder from a higher power that pay attention, like this needs your attention. And it's one of the things that's been the case. And numbers are one of the many things that actually I go by in life. I would be we would literally, before my I remember before my son was born, he would communicate with us through 111 and 1111. That was his number, right? So it was literally, we were looking for houses to move into, and we would be looking at a certain, passing by a certain house at a certain time. It would be 111, and that was one of the houses that we wanted. But it would, as we would drive by, it would be that same time, right? And when the realtor would call or text or send an email, it would be 1111. So certain things like those, sometimes we go by signs and numbers, and a lot of it will come in a the communication will come in a way, in a manner, way, shape, or form that um, you are open to, and also catches your attention. So a lot of it is figuring out, what does it normally mean when these patterns of numbers show up? What's the theme here? And once you get a theme through it, you'll start realizing that there's some higher force here, shaping, guiding your journey, your reality, and really there to serve, right? So a lot of it is, for me, it's been always been a good experience. So a lot of it is just seeing what does it mean when this normally happens. And once you start looking in the past, and when this pops up, you're going to start putting together a pattern of, this happens when this is about to happen, right? And it becomes very, very clear. And then moving forward, you know exactly how to deal with situations once those numbers come up to guide you. Okay. Another question here, and it is on embodiment. And embodiment, all right, sometimes it's a different level of empathy. Because sometimes when you're an empath, you know what somebody else is thinking, right? You just know what they're thinking. That's it. Sometimes as an empath, you know what they're thinking, but you also feel the emotions that they're feeling. So if they're feeling anxious, or they're just feeling shame, you just feel the emotions that they're feeling, and you know what they're feeling as well. And total embodiment of it sometimes can be like all three, which is what I experience. It's like you know what somebody's thinking, you feel what they're feeling, and if they have joint pains and body pains and and their knees hurt, then you feel that too. You just know, and you take it on for a second, so the question here that was asked is, I'm giving you guys context and background, okay? So the question here that's asked is, I feel I shield myself too much to know just how strong of an empath I am. I have to keep myself surrounded for so long for protection. Now that I want to stand and shine, it's a difficult adjustment. So a lot of the times, here's what I've realized, okay? Here's what I've realized is we are given these gifts so that we can, we're not given these gifts so we can suffer with it. We're given these gifts so that we can actually do something with them, right? So the reason why I'm in tune with people, their thoughts, their emotions, and whatever they're feeling, is because, like, I can help them with energy healing when I'm serving someone on a deep level. Like, me knowing what they're going through gives me empathy, gives me perspective, helps me help them better and quicker. So once that once I realize that, then the pain and all that stuff goes away. Because once you're at a high enough level to do energy clearings and healings on people and to help them, then that just becomes data and information. Just like a doctor, like, goes in and gets, vitals and feedback from tests, and once they have all that information, they know what to do with it. But if they didn't know that they were a doctor and what to do with it, and they're just bombarded with all these different things, it's overwhelming. So a lot of it comes down to, like, one, I really truly believe that that we are given these gifts for a reason, right? And when people go through my 8 week healing certification classes, like, they spent, what I see as a theme is that they've spent most of their lives debilitated because, things happen to them. They've got physical pain, they're absorbing too much negativity, the world, like, affects them, and it's just they're up, they're down, and the highs are the highs and the lows and the lows, right? And it's been a scary experience for them. And then they realize, that they have gifts, and they learn how to do the energy healing, and they realize that they're here to make a difference, to contribute their time, their energy, their effort to make a world a better place. And once they start realizing that, it starts clicking, then it puts everything in perspective. Because the thing is, they grew up in their entire lives, they thought that, you know, they just only experience the dark, and they always think, why is this happening to me? And they don't understand their light, their purpose, what they're here to do in the world. So it's kind of an imbalanced thing. But once they realize that, and they act on it, after they go through the certification, they're like, wow, this is amazing. Now I know what I'm here to do, and all the things that were bothering them, whether it's physical pain or overwhelming negativity all the time with people, it just doesn't anymore, because they're not one, they're in a high enough frequency that all that doesn't even touch them, right? Because they learn how to elevate that, and it's very similar to, if you think about it, I always talk about it as, if somebody is, this is a, like, the only example I can think of right now is, somebody's on a bike or running, and you have a stone, and you throw it in their direction, it can hit them. It has the ability to hit them, actually, and if it hits them, it can affect them, right? Depending on how big the stone is and how you throw it, it will affect people that are running. Whether they're in a car, whether they're biking, it will affect them. Now, not cool doing that, but it does have a very, very physical effect on what they're doing. But if someone's in an airplane or a helicopter is flying high, and you're throwing a stone, it doesn't matter how hard you throw, there's going to be a certain elevation, a certain um, height to where it just won't reach them. It won't affect them. They won't even know it's there. They don't even know that a stone was trying to reach them, right? And that's the same thing with frequency, is that once you are able to master your energy and master your frequency and know how to elevate it, and the things that are used to bother you, that used to really just like drag you down and block you from experiencing a life of happiness, abundance, peace of mind, clarity, all those things just don't even reach you anymore because you have mastered how to get your energy so high that they just don't exist in that reality. Okay. Another question here. Okay, on spiritual gifts. I asked my guides for obvious signs too. You appeared on my Facebook wall out of nowhere. My friends couldn't even get the link to your 30-day class to work. I didn't realize I signed up for your monthly circle. I've asked guides, and yep, I need to be a part of this group. I've been told by people that my future may involve healing people emotionally. I guess that's what my guides led me to. Thank you, Oliver. Awesome. There you go. Perfect example. I mean, honestly, I've got a lot of people that reach out to me and they're like, hey, I asked for a sign and you popped up on my Facebook, my Instagram, so on and so forth. And the reason is, like, I feel like a lot of this is like, and I go by divine synchronicity and just I just know there's a divine timing and divine order. And when people are supposed to meet, when opportunities are supposed to show up, when healing is supposed to happen, then people that need to facilitate that show up in our lives. And that's been the case for me. And again, a lot of it is trust, and trust that there's a higher power guiding and helping us through all of this. And a lot of it is just paying attention to the signs, and if they resonate and they feel and we feel that they are aligned with our soul's purpose, and we act on them, right? Another question here. Not a question, but a comment of gratitude. Thank you for this platform and this opportunity to grow alongside others. In an intuitive reading, I was told that I would aid in groups for healing. I have always stayed away from groups as I felt as I was in this alone. That feeling is no longer there, and I look forward to this new path I'm being led on. Amazing. Yeah, a lot of times, like, we're afraid of groups, and I used to be afraid of groups because that energy of the group would affect us. So we would be clear, the vessel, and we would just be like, we would just be having a blast in our own energy. Then we go out in the mall, or we go out in groups, and all of that smorgasbord of energy, which is a variety of them, affects us, and now we're lost in energy that's not ours. And I used to dread that, until I realized that I'm here not to be impacted by negative energy, but I'm here to bring my light, to bring my gifts, to bring my love and shine it and help elevate those around me, everyone I meet, no matter how big the group is, that I'm here. I'm a force for good. I'm a force for change. I'm a force for love. I'm a force for healing. And I just have to let my light shine through. And instead of hiding, is shining and doing what I'm supposed to be doing here on earth. And that shift in mentality of that I can impact and change and help others change everything for me. And instead of hiding, I started shining. And it's really made a world of difference when it comes to just me sharing my gifts and helping out, like, not being affected as much, right? uh, Another question here. Actually, that's about it. So well, thanks for all the questions here. Just wanted to go and hop on a quick live and answer them for you guys. Hope they helped, and keep the good questions coming. And yeah, just remember, like, when you are when you are lost, just remember that we have within us the ability to get clear. And look in the past. Look what we did when you were young. There are signs, there are clues on what works to clear us, what works to get us in a good space energetically. And once we're there, mentally and emotionally, that follows as well. And how do we get connected? How do we clear? What are the signs, and how are we normally used to receiving communication and guidance from higher power and intuition? That's all there. We have all unique ways of receiving information and doing this. A lot of it is just like, learning how to tap into that once more, so that we can live life the way it's meant to be lived, and we can actually, impact others by just us being our full selves and doing what we're here to do, right? So that's about it. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I'll see you guys in the next live.